We're a little lopsided today. Hi, everybody. Welcome back and happy Saturday. Happy day 3 of Comic Con. Wednesday,
Comic
Thursday,
Con at
Friday.
home, day
4
3.
days. 4-day if you count preview day, I guess. But
Yeah, but we didn't do anything for
I mean,
Wednesday.
normally, if the con was a thing, then we would have definitely been like on the floor shopping.
Oh yeah,
spending all of our hard-earned money already. But you guys, hello and welcome to Movie Couple Live. We are watching Disney Plus's The Right Stuff today. So that panel is set to start in about 3 minutes, and we first of all apologize for that leaf blower noise. So our next door neighbor is getting some work done, and for some reason it had to be a weekend. It couldn't have been a weekday.
Just when we started to, like, what is it, maybe like 10 minutes ago, we were getting all set up, and all of a sudden I'm like, is that a weed whacker?
Yeah,
I'm like, come on. Between construction, weed whacking, I'm like, oh well, hopefully you guys can't hear it.
Yeah,
but
it's a thing.
I'm excited for this panel because I think this is a great idea of what Disney is doing. If you wanted to take the almost 3.5 hour movie of The Right Stuff, the best way to redo that, all of that material, is to turn it into a Disney Plus show.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see what they're planning on doing and how they're going to be tackling this huge endeavor.
Yes. So yeah, everybody welcome and thank you for hanging out with us today. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Hi, Adam and Kristen.
Hey guys.
Jack and Black Bono. Black Bono. Okay. He had a super chat and I totally didn't answer it last time. What was it? I think it was. Oh, I gotta go back to the YouTube videos.
Oh, wasn't it something like who was? It was.
The question was. I answered it in the comments of the last stream. So let me just see if I can go back to that real quick.
Which stream was it on?
It was the most recent one.
Well, not one of the Comic-Con ones.
Right.
But yeah, one of the
okay, the super chat from Black Bono was Thundercats or Voltron live action movie, anyone. And our answer, I wrote it in the comments, Thundercats. Oh!
Definitely Thundercats. The only reason is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think a Voltron live action movie would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only problem is I think it would be really hard to make sure that it's very steered away and doesn't have any reminiscence of Power Rangers.
Yes.
I think it would just be a really hard task to do.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, the fans are going to be nuts about it, and obviously they're going to be like, it's not Power Rangers, and that's exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of hard to take that story of Voltron and adapt it and change it to such a way to where it doesn't have too many Power Ranger vibes. But I would also love to see a Thundercats movie. Stay away from, you know, the graphics and CGI that they did with cats.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it in a stream once upon a time. Okay, it's 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and refresh our window. I'm gonna turn the volume way up because otherwise I can't hear. Okay, they still haven't.
Yeah, it's still on private.
Oh, wait, here we go. Oh my God, it's an hour long. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So we haven't started yet because I'm going to try to share the screen so you guys can watch along with us. So just hang on 2 seconds, okay?
Wendy just figured out how to do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Just figured it out. So hold on. Oh, that's not the right one. This is the one.
Oh, yeah, you want the Blast Off Disney Plus one.
Mm-hmm.
Blast Off Disney Plus, The Right Stuff.
Yeah. So okay, that's not it.
Oh, that's us. We are going to do a reaction of us reacting to ourselves reacting.
It's being a little weird because I literally did this yesterday and it totally worked, and now it's like, sorry, this one.
Oh, is it? Yeah, Blast Off. That's
okay.
There we go. Full screen.
Full screen. There it is. All right.
Awesome. Okay, we got it.
Can I do it this way?
To kind of have the bigger screen?
Yeah, we're gonna have to adjust ourselves.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, here. Oh yeah, I guess I'll just have to snuggle up close to you, baby.
I don't think I can do it that way. It has to be this way. So let me this way, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
All
cool.
Right. So all right.
Go ahead. Good job.
Thanks. Okay, we got the volume full blast, and we're gonna go ahead and start. So you guys are in it for the long haul. This panel is long. It's 56 minutes and 22 seconds. So we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And welcome to 2020 Comic-Con at home and the launch of The Right Stuff.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
I'm Dr. Mae Jemison, and I'll be your moderator today. I have a special connection to this series besides being an avid space fan growing up in Chicago. You see, I was the first African-American woman selected for the Astronaut program for NASA.
Oh, cool.
As well as being the first woman of color in the world to go into space aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour and the Japanese Space Agency.
Wow.
Give her a round of applause.
Today, among other
That's awesome.
things I do, is I lead 100-Year Starship. It's a program
100-Year Starship.
to ensure that we have the capabilities for human interstellar flight that is going to another star within the next 100 years, and that we use those capabilities for positive transformation of life here on Earth. So, you know, I'm in this every step of the way.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of working with National Geographic before, and I am thrilled to be here as we launch the new series for Disney Plus, The Right Stuff. First of all, I want to introduce some of the really incredible cast members.
That was a big jump.
Stellar creative team who bring the show to life.
That's a lot of boxes.
Yep.
Patrick J. Adams, who plays Major John Glenn.
Nice.
Jake McDormand, playing Lieutenant Commander Alan Shepard. Colin O'Donoghue, Lieutenant Gordon Cooper. Michael Trotter is United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Gus Grissom.
That's awesome.
Aaron Staton.
They're going to have a huge cast.
Yeah.
Micah Stock is U.S. Air Force Major Deke Slayton. James Lafferty, United States Navy Commander Scott Carpenter. Nora Zetner is Annie Glenn. Shannon Lucio as Louise Shepard. Eloise Munford as Trudy Cooper. Patrick Fischler is Bob Gilruth, who was the first director of NASA's Manned Space Flight Center, now known as Johnson. Eric Layton.
Important job.
Very true.
NASA's first flight director.
Wow.
Also with us are the executive producers of the show. Jennifer Davison, the executive producer, and Mark Lafferty, showrunner and executive producer.
Yay.
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. May, I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but we should give you a round of applause.
Yeah.
Because out of everyone here, she's actually the one who's been to space.
Thank you, but sometimes I want to play one on TV.
I wonder if she watches TV and she's like, y'all are doing it wrong.
Probably.
Look at the right stuff. And then I want you to stick around because we're going to have other surprises later. Here we go.
Ooh.
Is this going to be...
Wait. Okay, should we pause?
Do you want to?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pause.
Oh, yeah, because this is definitely
Okay, so we're at 3. The timestamp is 3:25. We have paused because we're going to turn on our actual camera.
Okay, I'll get it
off. We're going to... So you're going to watch us react.
More lights.
More lights. So sorry if that changes. But we are stopped right now, as you guys can see. I'm just going to rewind it just a little bit to about 3:17.
Okay.
Okay.
Click. Turn this on.
So we're going to go back to 3:18, and then we're just going to do our reaction to it. Well, Dustin sets up the camera.
Okay, so look up here real quick.
Okay, hi.
Okay, hi, Wendy. Okay, cool.
This is how we do our trailer reaction. If people ever wonder, like, oh, do you pre-watch stuff? You're watching it live with us right now, obviously. We've paused, but we have not watched it. Okay, let's just go right into it. No intro. Yeah.
And this is The Right Stuff trailer reaction.
Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and press play and let's watch this. How exciting, right up top.
Yeah.
The panel. Oh.
Him practicing in the seat of his truck.
I feel like the kids would do it too. What? Okay, this is like a making of.
Mm-hmm. The day that we were, the times that we actually were super excited about science and we believed everything.
Still am. Well, that second part.
Yeah.
These guys all had their own specific kinds of adversity. Regular hours, home time to see the kids. That's a desk job. I belong in this space.
I want to get a female Charles Lindbergh.
But ultimately, all of them achieved their own version of success.
Might just be a part of history
Yep.
tonight. It's quite a moment for the entire human race.
Ooh.
A new drama series.
We need the best. This is something that we can all look up to and we can all aspire to.
Wow.
What we're doing here has consequences for the entire world. You see people coming
I didn't realize it was based on a book.
Mm-hmm. The 3-hour and 15-minute movie was also based on the same
about the
book.
movie. Nice.
The Right Stuff.
Streaming soon on Disney Plus. Okay,
Cool.
I'm gonna just reach over and we're gonna just keep rolling.
Because this is where
Oh, you got it?
everything
Okay.
starts. So Jennifer and Mark, let's jump in. Everybody else, don't get too relaxed. We're gonna get back to you. So either one of you, why did you want to tell this story? You know, The Right Stuff was a really famous book about the first U.S. astronauts. I read it before coming to NASA because I knew people would ask me about it.
Hmm.
But what makes this version of The Right Stuff different and unique? This version that you brought to life on television.
Yeah, I think, like many people.
I think he's done a lot of shows and stuff. I'm gonna look him up.
I think, I read the book growing up in high school. I read it in college. It was really important to me. The movie was important to me. And so it was daunting to, I had the excitement of having the project come to me from Appian and Warner's and Nat Geo. And then immediately it was like, well, this is terrifying because it's iconic this material.
So it's just so broad.
One thing that we quickly focused on was that not only is this an evergreen story, it's a great story to tell, but we want to tell it in a different way. And
It's definitely a story of adversity.
Oh yeah. Whoops.
Instead of just telling a historical drama that focuses on sort of tick-tock of what actually happened, we really wanted this to be a family drama. And that's not to say that the family drama aspects are more important than what was actually happening, but just that the intricacies of these characters.
We said that about the movie we saw last night.
Mm-hmm.
Massive effort that they were doing. And I think, for us, I think the look at
and that's what's going to be great
families,
about this.
Yeah.
Is the fact that they can focus on so much more.
Oh yeah.
Of the NASA scientists and Bob Gilroy and Chris Kraft and all the engineers, that what you start to see is that there were so many competing motivations and motives and desires and conflicts and things, and yet within all of that, that everybody came together and found a common purpose. And something, even though
a story of adversity.
Long ago, it was 2 years ago when we started talking about this. We didn't know what was going to happen in our culture and had no ability to predict future events. But
I like what Justin is saying in the chat. He says Disney is smart for diversifying so much. If you get tired of Marvel and Star Wars content, then you can get some Nat Geo content as well.
That's very true. I mean, if you have Natural Geographic in your payroll, you use it.
In your payroll. Oh, right.
On your payroll,
yeah. Defining characteristics. It's what other countries look to us for. It's something that from our Constitution on forward, it's like we do big stuff here.
So when you're looking,
can we go to the stream?
This is the stream.
No, our stream.
The story
Here.
Do you think
okay.
Why?
Sort of quintessentially
well, because then we can watch the chat.
I'm watching the chat.
Oh,
just
okay.
Going on what Mark was talking about us doing big things. Jen, are there parts of the story that you wanted to pull out?
Well, for us, for me, and I do think that this is quintessentially American.
It's the EP.
It's fascinating to me, anyone who thinks they can be the first one to do anything. I think that to be able to be on the
Oh no!
Here, look up and say, I'm the who's going to be able to go up there.
That worked.
I think is equal parts brave and crazy and scary.
Yep.
And the makeup of the people that think that they should be that person, I think is very American. And I think it's also so rare.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rare that you meet people that are brave enough to sort of put themselves at risk for discovery or for innovation or just to prove that they can.
Yeah.
And that's what
Very
was really
true.
fascinating for Mark and I, was to really kind of peel back on each one of these guys. We didn't have just one guy that thought that they could do it. We had 7 guys that thought that they could do it.
Yeah.
For all different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really kind of a smorgasbord of sort of complicated.
Which, by the way, that just made me miss smorgasbord in LA. Like, we can go eat all the food. That's never happening again.
Was that a scene in the pilot in which Chris Kraft and Bob Gilroy are worried that people aren't that like these guys aren't going to sign up for this thing because it's just too crazy. And of course,
I mean, who in their right mind would want to do this?
I mean, it just goes.
You want to go to space?
Like there is this headlong idea that so many young Americans have that like no, we'll try anything. We can do the big things, and we'll be the first there to sign up.
With everything that's going on today, I would be remiss not to ask you what you would have liked to have included in this season that you didn't, because you had to focus on the Mercury 7. And what might you be able to add in future seasons regarding the contributions of really the hidden, diverse members of NASA's space effort, as well as NASA's overall impact on the civil rights movement? Can you think of anything that you would have added differently?
No, for sure. Firstly, I mean, I think it's amazing what's going on in our country right now. And I think that I can speak for every single one of these little squares in front of me, because we've all talked about it, about how incredible it is to kind of be standing in this moment when you're seeing real change happen. And we're so supportive of the movement in Black Lives Matter and what's happening. And we chose to focus on these 7 guys and their wives for this season. But it was a missed opportunity, because there are these incredible untold stories that within the space program that we can't wait to kind of peel back and dive into, like we did here with these.
I'm really curious on how many episodes they're going to give it to.
Well, generally right now on Disney Plus, they have
8,
like
right?
up to 8, yeah.
So an extra like 8 hours of material that they can play with.
But that's not to say they have to stick to like 45 minutes to an hour per episode. They can go over it if they want to. Or if we see they could kind of fluctuate, like first one, like 58 minutes, second one, 56 minutes, and then they,
Women were obviously kept out of the program, and that is a big part of our season 1. Going into season 2, we're excited.
Season 2.
So they've already.
Oh wow!
They already know that they're gonna do 2 seasons.
It's probably because of it's National Geographic, so it's kind of one of those things that like we want to do this educational show.
Segregation was on everybody. It was the top of every headline, as you said, exactly as it is now. So what we missed in season 1, we can't wait to get into in season 2.
Let's jump to our cast of characters.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to go to you first, Patrick, because you portray Major John Glenn, one of the most celebrated figures in space exploration. So what did you do to prepare for this role? What type of research did you do?
Well, first I got extremely nervous. Freaked out. I thought, there's no way I can do this. What have I got myself into?
Literally every actor when they get the role.
I got it. Oh my God, what have I done?
Enormous amount of information there is about John Glenn. I've never had the opportunity to play someone of which there's been so much written, and there's so much at your disposal.
There's so much information on him.
Reading the book, and then going over the book that he wrote, a couple of books that he wrote or had written about him. But then I found out about the Ohio State Archives that have been maintained and that he played a big part in creating over the years.
Just think of as an actor how much you have to, on top of the sides that you're given, you have to like become really familiar with. You have to like really embrace that person's everything and all this in-depth research
that you came across that you wanted to incorporate.
he wrote so many letters. John Glenn was like a voracious writer, not to mention just there's a stack of letters between him and Annie. When I say stack, there's like 6 boxes of letters that just cover the time between him leaving for boot camp, basically, to
was that published?
World War II.
The letters?
I wouldn't be surprised that
some of them,
after
right?
he died, or wait, no, he's probably still. I don't even know if he's still alive, but they somehow got published. Yeah.
Or Annie Glenn, were, that they were sitting there and writing themselves. There was something to that, and so it wasn't just the information that was contained in the letters, but it was the tone of voice. It was the way they spoke to each other. It was
that's it. That's where you can get that like persona, and you understand
and that personality and how they talk.
Relationship, yes.
And then there was one thing in particular I found, which was a photo. It was this large black and white print of John Glenn and Scott Carpenter embracing each other, with Glenn's head like tucked tight to each other, and it said it was the moment that Scott Carpenter had gotten back from space. There was something about that photo that went beyond, because John Glenn was an incredible engineer. All of these guys were brilliant people, and there was a scientific reason for everything they did. They were fighter jet pilots, and there was masculinity and let's go faster and let's.
Okay, Adam says that John Glenn passed away. That's right.
Just
we
recently,
knew this in 2016. That's right. I actually do remember that now.
The larger sense of what these people were doing.
I mean, it looks like since they've already filmed so much. I wonder if they got a chance to actually talk to him before he died.
Nat Geo probably has so much in their archive about John Glenn.
True.
Yeah.
Annie Glenn was John Glenn's wife, and she also was very, very respected throughout the world for spending a great deal of her life as an advocate for people with communication disorders.
She was studying disorders. She had an 85% stutter.
An 85%
stopped her from being able to talk on the phone, to go into a grocery store and ask for something. She had to write down what she wanted before she went shopping. She couldn't talk on the telephone.
Wow.
After she finished this program, because for 3 weeks she wasn't allowed to speak to anybody when she went to go do it.
Right.
And when she got out, she called John, and he just started crying.
Oh my gosh! Is that in the show?
I hope so.
Thought it was so beautiful, and even when she was in her 80s, she actually was a lecturer at Ohio State for a speech and hearing class. And
wow.
She said she was in tears because she finally realized her dream to be a teacher. And what I think is so amazing about her is that she just never stopped learning.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you'd like people to take away from her and her story and the right stuff this season?
So much. I mean, I just think her grace and courage and strength are extraordinary, and her capacity for love. I mean, their love affair was the most beautiful.
Oh, cute.
It's cute how she actually, does kind of blush thinking about it. She's like, it's so cute.
We spent a bit of time like reading them to each other, and that to me really informed a lot of their relationship.
I'm gonna go to Jake.
That's great.
So you play Alan Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
And one of this first group of astronauts who were chosen because they were deemed to have the right stuff.
The right stuff. I can't. I'm sorry.
What is the right stuff?
Oh man, I don't have it.
I'm only acting like I have it.
The way, the way that I feel
Acting.
like it was described, kind of indirectly in the book, was this relationship that all these guys had with fear. They were test pilots. The life expectancy of a test pilot back then was not high. I think it was like 1 out of every 3 or something. And their job as test pilots, and this was all new information that I learned because I hadn't read the book. And to Patrick's credit, he was
Adam also writes, the right stuff.
He kind of set up a hub, put us all in an email chain where we could just
from like the first day I saw the title.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great because you got the book, the right stuff, but then almost all of these guys, not all of these guys, had you know,
I'm gonna have to check out the book.
Mhm.
Depending on when this is airing, I want to see if I can dive into the book.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder also how big of a book it is too.
Or just watch the 3-hour movie.
Or just watch,
It's
but
a
then you're
long
gonna still
time. I
miss
don't
so
know.
much.
I'd rather just get the book. The book is usually better.
Kind of what the right stuff is, that one common thread, and as best as I could kind of put together,
What happened to all the
this
candy that we had here?
One of the what?
Our Comic-Con snacks.
Oh, I put them in the cupboard.
Oh, did?
Kind of reaction.
Oh wow, it's okay. We'll get it on the next break.
Day in, day out for years on end. That it's the ability to think clearly, think rigidly, think logically, through experiencing feelings that would send.
That's very true.
Yeah.
People into a panic.
Being able to work through your fear.
You have it.
Yes.
You told us that you signed up, re-signed up right after the Challenger tragedy.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. Sorry, I just gotta. I think that's okay.
But let me just throw this out to some others as well. But is the right stuff risk taking, lack of fear, or
it's the ability to control your emotions while you are scared shitless.
Yeah.
Right stuff. I mean, I think that the reason it's not just called bravery or lack of fear, that it's something so sort of thought-provoking and difficult to define. I think the reason it is just that is that it's so individual.
Justin in the chat says I'd read the book after seeing the movie itself.
That makes sense. A lot of the times I prefer watching the movie first, then reading the book.
And also to the point where you said to control your emotion when a highly stressed environment, a really great example of that in a film is Brad Pitt's character in Ad Astra. Like he perfectly displays how someone like an astronaut in space would have to, while remaining calm in an extremely stressful situation.
But your ability to show it to the world may be limited by, in this case, lots of women who had the right stuff and were not given the opportunity to show that to anyone other than themselves.
I also think that when Tom Wolfe,
that's always a good, important story to tell.
Oh yeah,
reduction of what it takes to do what any of these people do, but I also think he kind of is referring to the women in these people's lives who have to watch their husbands die. Day after day. It's such a big part of the book.
That's rough.
Mortality rate and the hearing that plane crash and hearing the sirens go and what it takes to survive that. And then, of course, the book also deals with a huge character, Chuck Yeager, who broke the sound barrier, who, in these definitions of pushing the envelope and having no fear, he certainly had it, but he didn't get to participate in the program. And so there's some tongue-in-cheek quality there, too, which is like, it's such a reduction that it's almost
this is so interesting. So much insight into that time period and the science of it all.
It really does get you like, oh, I want to learn more. I want to read the book. I want to watch the movie, and now I want to watch the show.
Just all the good information you can absorb.
Death of people that try to do this and get it wrong.
Yeah, I almost think that the like what you're talking about, where it's like, oh, the right stuff is cigarettes soaked in whiskey, that's how I feel like these 7 guys would describe it, as an intangible kind of special quality. But there is a juxtaposition in the book, like you're saying, where you see the endurance and the strength and the right stuff, if there is any such thing, present in the wives of these men. In the women astronauts, the Mercury 13, Chuck Yeager, who was part of the space program. So I agree with that. Yeah.
So now that I'm not sure if I want to have the right stuff or
not. She's already got the right stuff. Look at what
she's already been up there.
She's like,
I'm going to jump to you, Eric, because you portray.
I love her demeanor. Is that how you would say? Like the way she carries herself is so calm.
Yeah.
And focused, which makes sense if she was
in
the program.
The self-control anyone would have to have who strap themselves to a rocket.
It's like eloquent, focused, calm. I love it.
Remember that we talk a lot about these 7 guys, and none of them be in space without Chris and Bob. So I think these 2 men certainly had a pivotal role in getting this thing off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd have to say they have the right stuff in whatever abstract way you want to believe that, whatever that means. Chris considered himself a bit of a conductor.
I'm gonna have to plug in my computer in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It was at 100. It was at like 70. Now it's at 50.
Any of us, but as you know, he had to put experts in each field behind their specific.
Got to get the best of the best.
Yeah.
And he might not know how to run them, but he certainly knew
the team that you want to put together.
Call on them.
See, the leader is just important as the rest of their team.
That is very true.
You can't have like, I'm the best at everything. It's like, no, everybody is the best, and you bring them all together, and it's like Avengers Assemble.
Well, it's not only that, but you have to be like, who's the best at doing this job?
Yes.
Who's the best at doing this job?
Exactly.
So, I guess he had it in that regard.
And what is it? I believe I remember watching an interview about how selective they have to be with astronauts.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about if you have the right stuff, but do you have the ability to be in an enclosed space for like 3 months?
Can you coexist with the other person?
With the other personalities.
Yeah.
So you don't drive each other insane.
Yeah, and that's easy to do, especially in a high stress environment. Forget it.
You have to have the right stuff, and you have to be able to get along with other people who have the right stuff.
You gotta be able to put aside your differences, swallow your pride, and all that stuff. Yeah.
That it had serious explosions up until that time.
Yeah.
Serious explosions.
Talk to me about that.
Well, let me just say that Bob Gilruth has had a lot of qualities that I wish I had. He was brilliant. He was patient. He was quiet. And he took this so incredibly seriously. And it's really hard to find stuff about Bob because unlike all the guys,
the right stuff, drinking gang says Vanja in the chat. Take a shot every time they say the right stuff. I would be on the floor.
Yeah,
already.
We would already be passed out.
I'm such a lightweight.
I did a real deep dive into finding information about him, and I found on Air and Space Archives a 120-page interview with him.
Whoa!
Oh wow!
Late 70s, early 80s, and in that he talks about how hard it was to make these decisions, and how personally he took any mistakes, anything that happened to these guys. He was very, very fearful of
Makes sense.
anything going wrong, which things did go wrong.
Yeah.
And it was like losing a kid. He describes that. And I think to make these decisions with Chris.
I just realized that he has a map of Disneyland behind him.
Is that what it is?
It's a map of Disneyland.
Wait, do you think he's at a hotel? Because look at the way the bed is.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Maybe they put him in one nearby because they were doing some stuff in Anaheim. When they make his screen big again, maybe.
A part of me was all about, I'll just make it bigger here. Oh wait, no, I'm not in the Zoom call.
Yeah. Can't go to speaker view.
But whoever is doing that,
because
there's someone definitely controlling it.
But this isn't live, right? This is all pre-recorded. So
Yeah.
they can.
But they have someone that
An
is
engineer
an
that's
engineer
doing
that's
it,
doing
yeah.
it.
How many people thought about being an astronaut? Going into space?
You guys raise your hands in the chat too.
Gilruth, raise your hand. No.
Not at all.
He's like,
nope,
no thanks.
Nope.
I was supposed to play in the NBA.
So the other part of this question, did working on this series make a difference to you? You know, is it that you wanted to be one, but now you don't, or now space looks more interesting to you? Gotta ask. All of those who the series affected them in terms of their desire and their thoughts about space.
Oh.
You have to raise your hands now.
Now everyone's like, now I kind of want to go into space.
He's
He's still like, no,
no thanks.
nope, I'm good.
Oh, I missed it. They zoomed in on him, and I missed the map.
As a result of the series?
Previously, I would have told you if someone was like, do you want to go to space? I'm like, nah, thanks, I'm good. Like, I'm going to stay here. I feel good right here on the ground.
I want to spend some time in just zero G.
It truly did. Like, once I started
in zero gravity,
Just
you know?
you can do that plane.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that's available for us peasants.
for us peasants. Hopefully soon more people will be. It's going to be easier to go to space.
Yeah.
That stuff, I mean, it really did invigorate me in a way. Now, if someone was like, here's a ticket to space.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, sign me up.
Well, okay, I'm going to put this in perspective, and then we've got to move on a little bit. So, in terms of
girl, you're good. You got a whole another half hour.
I didn't want to be an astronaut, but I wanted to go into space because I didn't think of it as a job or a career. I thought about it as something to do that I might travel and I do my work on another planet because we should have been on Mars. But I was afraid of heights as a little girl, so that was my right stuff. I was afraid of heights when I joined the astronaut program. But the question was, do I allow that to keep me from doing what I want to do?
She didn't.
Parachute training. There's no way in hell I'd let those guys know I did not like heights, right?
Right.
Over that, so maybe there's some difference.
And that shows the right stuff, that she's able to control that fear.
Yeah.
Right? That's the piece. Do I want to see this enough that I'm going to get over that part? And I think that's part of when we start to look.
Oh, Adam says he's actually good friends with Caitlin. We work together at Disneyland.
Oh,
that's cool. Man, Adam, you know all the cool people.
What you want to achieve. You've clearly done that in your careers in a lot of different ways. It's just what we choose to focus on. And right now, I'm going to focus on Jake, right? Because
who's nasty?
Jake, you're going to tell us a little bit about a clip.
Oh, a clip.
Alan Shepard was the first U.S.
Okay, you watch.
Okay, I'll watch
I'll go turn it on.
Yeah, Alan Shepard was the first American in space, and he almost didn't get his letter to go to space, which is a true story.
Oh.
It's in the show. We have a clip here of that scene. Never seen before.
That's always funny
but,
because
yeah, 110 people that
a lot of the actors don't get to see it for so long.
Yeah. They're like, what was it?
By the way, worrying that they wouldn't even get
Okay, we're recording.
Okay, cool.
So we don't have to pause this time.
All the test pilots were anxiously anticipating that they would be chosen. Shepard started to hear the people around him were getting summoned to Langley, and he wasn't included, and that was because his letter got lost. So
that sucks. Still happens today. Snail mail still happens today. Here we go. Turn it up. Sorry.
Hey, Shepard. This came Friday. Is that only the address that you could sign for it? So I pretended to be you. Almost didn't work. I'm so damn handsome.
Oh.
Last hour, you idiots.
Oh my God.
2 hours. What does? I don't know.
They don't know because they wouldn't.
Capsule sits upon 25 tons.
He's late.
Combustible ethyl alcohol and liquid oxygen.
Oh no.
Powering a rocket ion engine that provides 78,000 pounds of thrust.
Now, if these specifications sound familiar, it's because, well, we've essentially removed the core from a nuclear missile, and we want to put you in its place.
hurry, go.
Alan Shepard.
Oh my God.
And he's like,
Would we like to test the mercury redstone?
He's gonna get
he's
in there.
going to get
It's
there.
gonna be over.
It's right at the very end.
Yes, but are we afforded such a luxury with the Russians sneaking satellites through our backyard?
We are not.
Of course, they're all very.
Now
like,
he's got to look for a parking spot. Oh no, he's just gonna.
It's not like in these days.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he still has a cigarette in his mouth.
Watch it like be empty. It's over. Oh, I can't wait. Oh no. Okay. That's not embarrassing.
You gentlemen are
Whoopsie-daisy.
accustomed to testing dangerous, unproven aircraft, and yet somehow you've made it this far in one piece. Most of you have families. You have careers. You have lives.
That could all come to an abrupt halt if you sign on to this endeavor.
Big
I take
decision.
32 of your loveliest clinic for medical evaluations, but only 7 of you will have what it takes.
Out of that
Those
whole
7
bunch?
will be the Mercury astronauts.
Have the right stuff.
We have a fantastic agency in the making. But to be frank, the Russians are sprinting around the track, and we are still at the starting block tying our shoelaces.
Oh, wow.
We need to work fast. We need to work smart. And we need the best. Our very way of life is at stake.
The choice is yours, gentlemen. Sleep on it. Call your wives.
Yeah.
Get word to Mr. Money by morning.
They're all going to be like, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
but
in.
maybe some of them don't want to do
True.
it because you got to think of like how good of their job they have right now. Maybe they don't want to give that up or whatever. Wow, that's so great.
Oh, coming fall 2020?
Fall 2020.
I mean, I'm assuming that everything's already filmed.
Yeah.
Great clip.
It's also a really fun clip.
I want to go to Eloise, who plays Trudy Cooper, because people forget about the wives and really the difficulty they had. Jen alluded to in the beginning that, wives of test pilots never knew when they were going to show up, right? Somebody's going to come to their door telling them that there was an accident. In preparing for your role, what do you think was the most intimidating, difficult thing for the astronaut wives?
I think it's two-pronged. One is that simple human fact of how hard it is to watch someone you love do something incredibly dangerous.
No, true. To always be stressed out about whether or not they're going to be coming back.
Just have a piece of your heart be on a rocket that is potentially going to blow up, because that's what's been happening to all the previous rockets. That in itself is monstrously hard. And I also think the other thing that was really difficult for the wives was the fact that they were seen as a monolith, and that was because of the time. Women were not. They were seen as the wives. So I'm really happy that this series takes on a component of that, because I think it's a part of the story that people don't forget necessarily about the wives. They just never knew about them to begin with.
No, true.
Because they were sidelined. And so to have an opportunity to be able to bring to life these incredible women is something I'm really grateful for. And I think that audiences will really find fascinating.
So as we're bringing to life the Mercury 7, the early NASA space program, all of the filming took place throughout.
Well, they all
Florida.
Shifted around a little bit.
So, Michael, did you get to go to places where the original Mercury 7 went? And what was that like?
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, Cocoa Beach is obviously completely different now than what it was.
Yeah.
No, true.
I've been to Cocoa. That's Cocoa Beach, Florida.
I think there's some crazy statistic that it was like 15,000 people in Brevard County in like the early 50s, and it was six figures.
Wow.
The astronauts were picked, and then NASA kind of set up shop there. So in terms of where these guys might have been stomping around, not the actual physical places, but we did have an incredibly unique opportunity to sort of tour the original launching pads and see some of the early control rooms and things like that. And just as a fan of history, it was as remarkable for me as it was terrifying. I mean, we got the chance to go out. I did, and some of us did, to go out on Pad 4 where Shepard went out.
That's cool.
That's going to be the coolest thing about these kind of movies, too, is when they take you out for a little field trip.
Yes. Exactly. You might just have to come closer.
Okay, I can do that, too.
Instead of shifting out.
Insane people willingly going into and then being shot in a ballistic missile to space. And so,
I think that's got to be also one of the scariest and saddest things for the wives, too, is the fact that it's not like, okay, not just your husband's going to die, but your husband's going to get blown to smithereens, and you're not going to be able to do like an open casket. You're not going to be.
That's terrible.
It's just like,
I don't want to talk about that. Oh, it's terrible.
Be in the space where these people live their lives, and to kind of step in similar steps and see similar sights that they did, it grounds you. It grounds you in the time and the place and the palpable There's a palpable.
It just makes history more tangible once you're there.
Yeah. You're in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
With all that piece about you seeing the vehicles, was there anything surprising that Kennedy Space Center is actually a wildlife preserve?
Really? Oh, that makes sense because they would have to have so much space cleared out.
Yeah.
To be some of the pads being bigger, the land looks really similar.
Yeah, well, I thought it was fascinating to see like the alligators. You know,
Welcome to Florida.
It's like this pool that they said it's called is the boneyard or something. It's called where there's huge alligators. But it was it's fascinating to be out there. You know, what really struck me was the size of the actual NASA building where they build.
Have you been? You've been to the Kennedy Space Center?
Oh no.
No, you haven't?
I have not.
My school, in 4th grade elementary school, they took us on because we lived in Florida, they took us on a field trip to the Kennedy Space Center. I was so excited.
That is so cool.
You know, the Corvettes, when we got to sitting at 59.
The bus ride wasn't fun.
Because we don't have those cars here, and that's real Americana for me. That's like, you know, Coke bottles and, you know, all that kind of stuff was really amazing. And it had me sort of pretend to be American.
Move along to Scott Carpenter. So what did it mean to you to portray an astronaut who participated in the start of NASA?
It felt unique, I think. Yeah, because I was really struck by how much of what we take for granted that we know today about space, we just didn't know back then. You know, how the body would react to zero gravity, you know, whether or not that capsule was going to survive re-entry into the atmosphere.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're done with the mission, but can you come back to Earth?
It's like, in theory, this should work, but we've never done it before. But we need someone to fly it down.
Yeah.
Never really, seen or experienced in like the zeitgeist since then. So yeah, I think that made it really just sort of exciting for me. It created a level of suspense that I think was really fun to play, and kind of breathtaking.
So conflicts, interpersonal. Shannon Lucio plays Louise Shepard. I just want to ask you about what's been dubbed America's first reality show. The whole idea that everyone was in a fishbowl for the first time and they're publicly available.
Sucks. I wouldn't want that. I mean, you have to focus on being in space, and especially for the wives, just trying to like live their life. Everybody's in your business.
Show kind of piece where Americans were let into folks' lives. How did you bring that into your character? What do you think about that?
Especially for that time, it's gotta be messed up.
No, I think that for these people, like, since this
Oh yeah, she is in a hotel.
Yeah.
They had no concept.
But they're working actors, right? So they could be there for something else.
True.
And it's not necessarily like a Disney hotel. Could be.
Well, one of them we think is in a Disney hotel.
Yeah.
And I had in my life, in my past, like a small moment that like pales in comparison to what they had to endure. But
They probably had everyone come to the hotel to film because then they control the Wi-Fi. They can control all the everything.
Oh.
But everyone's in their own room.
I don't think so. There's some of the rooms that look like houses.
Oh yeah.
Homes.
Holding me accountable for my character's actions, really angry at me for things that were totally outside of my control. And I remember when I was looking at the story and trying to see it from Louise's perspective, I remembered that moment and how you so desperately want to be that person that they are asking you to be. To be the symbol of perfection, to not screw it up, to do it right, you know? And I think in a way, Louise was sort of like the best candidate for the First Lady of Space because she was very well practiced at sort of preserving her inner core of vulnerability by putting on this veneer, this mask of poise and grace and strength that she developed over her life, just in being a woman, but also being a woman married to a man who was in the military and never let the world see you sweat.
Yeah.
Or like be afraid that your husband may never come home.
The world's intrigued by space. Whether it's in television or whether it's
I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
What is it that you think is so inspiring about space audiences? Be careful. Remember, I like space.
It's like
Why
the
is
frontier.
space?
It's like the West.
Yeah.
It's the unknown.
Whether you grew up
Yeah.
to be an astronaut or not, I mean, we all have the moment of looking up at the stars
Mm-hmm.
and feeling small
Mm-hmm.
in a comforting way, and also being like, holy, like, what's up there?
That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what does
Everyone,
that look like
everyone
from up
does
there?
that.
Yeah.
Last night, actually. I mean, I live in New York, so I haven't seen a star in
Sorry. They're still out there.
I came down south and I was looking at the stars, and I think that part of the allure is that it sort of for a moment strips you of your earthly identity. Where it's like,
no, that's true.
I don't have to be Micah bound by my career and who I am and the people I know and what they expect of me.
Yeah.
This idea, like when you look in space, it really does feel like, oh yeah, no, we're all just connected. We're all just little stars.
Oh.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Put that on a T-shirt. We're all connected. We're just like little stars.
To me when I was in space was not so much looking down at the Earth and feeling connected, but looking out, to other stars and feeling connected. And it was a great thing to feel part of this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Now that's the right stuff.
Hey.
Universe. So I'm going to sort of throw this out, but first directing it to Jen. So is the right stuff in line to take its place with all the other television that's pushed space along from
Yes.
Genie, which was really about the Mercury 7?
Oh my gosh, I dream of Genie. That's right.
I mean, is it set up to take its place?
I mean, I think so. I hope so. That was,
I mean, they got season 2 coming already.
Yeah, true.
Definitely, from the very, very beginning of doing this, our hope was to tell a space story like one had never been told before, where space was there, and the innovation was there, and the exploration was there, and the excitement was there, but there was also real beating heart people behind it, which you often don't see in shows that have to do with space. Nothing against Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman. I grew up with them. But it was really kind of figuring out who these people were, which you don't often see. You kind of always see the version of John Glenn or Alan Shepard, and they were sort of these shiny pennies, these icons of American history, as they should be. And gosh, I don't know that anybody loves and respects them as much as we all do.
Yeah.
But there was more going on behind that. That was quite frankly more interesting. That was really complicated, like what made them tick and what drove them. And so we really feel that with this, we're telling a story about space that has never been told, because it's about the people that went there, not just the journey to get there. And so yeah, I think so. I hope so.
How are they going to cover all that in
Jen and I talked
7-8 episodes?
Well, 2 seasons, too.
But they said next season, I guess they don't have to finish off the one story. In one
Yeah.
I guess.
I think it's really just going to be one super long story broken up into 2 seasons.
I love all these movies, and I think a lot of us grew up on them. And there is something, though, that I think is really curious that is specific to stories about space, which is that any sort of nuance or complication with characters, historical characters revolving around space, is kind of a third rail a little bit for movies to take on. We think of these people as gods, and gods are flawless. And I think part of the
that is kind of tough when it comes to talking about history.
That was part of the story that was being sold to the American public through Life magazine was, look at these gods. And I think one of the things we wanted to do is say, no, we can both respect these people. We can have 2 thoughts in our head at the same time. We can hold them up as heroes. And
imagine that
everything they did is beyond our measure.
Treat them as humans.
That it is something to hold up and to be really
extraordinary humans. Don't get me wrong, but
But
humans.
they were men and women who went to bed at night and had the same fears and petty grievances and all that normal human beings do.
Mark, I want to go back to what you said about how people see astronauts and what this
They're so
program,
cool.
The Right Stuff, means. So given that the Mercury 7 were all white men, we have the question about what are folks going to take away from this? I'm going to use myself as a little girl growing up on the south side of Chicago, as I told you. I assumed I would go into space, right? And everybody I saw were white males, and I didn't give a damn because
You go, girl.
I assumed that I had all the right stuff, but that also came from parents. But I was really quite irritated that they didn't have women in the program. The Russians sent up a woman, Valentina Tereshkova. So what do we think people should take away from watching this show?
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, piggybacking off of what Eloise and Nora and Jen, all them had said earlier, I even I kind of cringe a little bit when I hear the wives described as the wives, because it puts them in one category.
Yes.
Nope, that's very
true.
true.
Literally, that thought was in my head.
Yeah.
As by somebody else, you are the wife of that person, and the implication is that person's the one doing the important thing. I think that
That's
for
true.
us, it was really important to get Jerry Cobb and the Mercury 13 into this season and get the aspiration that Trudy Cooper has, but also something I talked a lot about that Jen and I are so passionate about. Annie Glenn died just a few weeks ago, and
she doesn't get to see a
story,
premiere.
I know.
Which is a story of perseverance and pluck and just pure strength of character, is a story about somebody who doesn't have the weight and the pull of NASA and the government and everything helping them along to do what they were doing. The astronauts had the Great American War Chest at their backs, and Annie Glenn did something by herself. And so as we move forward, I think stories about people like Trudy Cooper, who really, really, really wanted to be somebody who was not just defined by her husband, who was a pilot in her own right, who was very, very good, and had major accomplishments in her own life. And Jerry Cobb,
but then she just gets sidelined as you're the wife.
You're the wife.
Nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, and so these are people who
I think that might have come from
I think as the show goes on,
this thing
from the stream.
Trudy Cooper's failures to become an astronaut, I don't think we should look at them as a failure of character. I think these were the first sort of volleys that were launched upward, and that people like Eileen Collins and Sally Ride caught those balls later on and really had great success. And they needed to start somewhere. Every movement towards something big and good and enduring has to start with somebody who maybe doesn't themselves get across the finish line.
I'll say this, Mark and I both are parents to daughters. He is 2, and I have 3 little girls. And so we talked a lot about, you're going to do a show in the 50s and you've got to have these wives, and not to make them feel cookie cutter, which I think everybody said, but in their own way. When you end the series, each one of these women has proved just as heroic.
Yes.
True. Good. I'm glad they're really focusing on that.
It may not be heroism that's on the front page of Life magazine. It may not be success in becoming part of the Mercury 13, but there's some really, really, really heroic, emotional things that these women accomplish for their husbands, for their children, and for themselves. And I'm very proud of that as a female, as a female filmmaker, that we were able to, really Mark was able to infuse it so elegantly, so that when you walk away from our last episode of this first season, it's wildly, wildly emotional and incredibly hopeful, and yet it has very little to do with the Mercury 7. And I don't want to give anything away. But has everything to do.
Interesting.
With the
I like that.
children.
Yeah.
And so I think we really accomplished what we set out to do for us, but also for our little girls as well.
Good message to send to the next generation.
I'm going to go around and ask for that one word start off first with you, Shannon.
If I had one word to sum up the show
Mm-hmm.
and what it's about, it would be determination.
Balance.
Oh.
My word is, for the right stuff, is recklessness.
Inspirational. I would say
inspirational.
Perseverance.
Passion.
One of my favorite quotes is "The more I wonder, the more I love," which is from The Color Purple, Alice Walker. So I would say wonder.
I guess maybe my word is hope, and it's just about making the impossible possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come together.
Yeah.
My word would have to be faith.
Aspiration.
Yes.
My word would be ambitious.
I think my word would be endurance.
Possibility would be my word, I think.
Possibility is a great word.
Me, it's probably relatable. And that's
No,
not
that's true.
because you necessarily relate to what it means to being an astronaut or
human.
going up into space.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about relating to a dream or a common purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you'll walk away and you find a little bit of yourself, who you are, who you want to be, where you are, where you want to go, in each of these characters. So I think I'd say relatable.
So thank you all. And I'm going to summarize everything that you just said in your single words. So The Right Stuff is a series that is about determination, balance, recklessness. It's inspirational. It's about perseverance, passion. It's about wonder and hope, ambition, faith, aspiration, endurance, possibilities, and it's a world that we can all relate to. And I would say that the show is amazing, as well as amazing cast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Yay! Great panel.
That was a good panel.
I'm Lee Jemison, and I want to thank everyone for being with us today. You can catch National Geographic's The Right Stuff on Disney Plus this fall. And please stay tuned for additional information and announcements at Nat Geo Channel and at Disney Plus on Twitter and Instagram.
Perfect. The end.
You know, I'm really liking the way that Comic-Con is handling all of these panels. This is a great way to do this.
Can they just keep doing it like this, and then like we can just all stay home?
Yeah. Well,
it's less stressful.
Make it in a way to where, you know, yeah, they'll still have the live panels maybe next year.
Yeah.
But make it so you can stream them live like this.
Yeah, and then they just don't show the exclusive stuff that people waited overnight to see.
Yes.
Like for a Marvel WB type of a thing.
To where you're like, and you at home, sorry, but you're going to see a blank screen.
Or you just don't see it. Like you just exit the, you know, something like that. But yeah, I am really, really liking the way that they're running the panels. This is a great one. Jax has a great cast. So let's go ahead and go back to what you guys are saying, because I was seeing it scrolling by and I was like, ooh, we got to go back. So from Adam, who writes Supersonic Hero Supersonic Hero 10, Adam writes, considering Gus Grisham will be in the show, I'm fairly certain they will discuss those tragedies in the show. And then Star also writes, I wonder if they'll cover up to Apollo 5 and maybe discover the discovery horror of the Mercury 3 flight, is that what I'm saying? Of radiation before the Apollo program. Interestingly enough, you and I watched a movie about radiation yesterday. It's literally called Radiation. Yeah, I have a feeling that they given that it's 2 seasons and that it is, even though it's airing on Disney Plus, it is a Nat Geo production, it sounds like. And I'm hoping that they don't dramatize it to show just like paint the pretty picture. Like we should see, you know, the glorious moments and the moments that are heartbreaking as well.
Yes.
To let you know that it's not just like, it's not like a celebrity status thing. You get to go to space. Like, it required a lot of training and work,
a lot
and
of
education,
sacrifice, a lot of
sacrifice,
putting your life on the line,
a lot of fear, I'm sure, in your heart going in.
And I could almost see this series, if the series does well, I would love to see them, continue with the title, The Right Stuff, Apollo. Kind of thing.
They can
The Right
split
Stuff,
it. Mercury 7,
Challenger.
Apollo. Yeah. Oh.
And that would be obviously a you're getting into
tragedy.
a tragic story.
But then you can know
what happened, what the politics behind it, because there were a lot of decisions that were made for certain reasons with the Apollo program. So I'm not the Apollo with I just said it 2 seconds ago. The Challenger. So I'm really curious on not just this season and the next, but I'm also really curious on what where they're going to go with this. I hope they keep on doing it and give us more stuff.
Yeah, I really hope so too. I really enjoyed the panel. It was both entertaining and educational, because it wasn't trying to it wasn't like a blatant ad in your face. That's what I liked about this panel, right? Like it wasn't just like, watch our stuff, and he was like, this is the reason why you want to watch our stuff. And it talks about like not just the astronauts, and it talked about the people surrounding them and their family and how they handle situations. Put a little bit of comedy in there, as we saw, for the letter getting lost, and the guy literally almost missed his opportunity. Like, how awful.
And he pretty much walks in and goes and just has, okay, if you guys have decided this is what you want to do, talk to him by tomorrow.
And he's like,
oh, okay,
I guess I'll go talk to him. Like, yeah. So we are looking forward to seeing this series on Disney Plus in the fall. Let us know in the chat and the comment section what you thought of the overall panel, of the trailer. We'll have a separate video to go up for that trailer reaction that you guys saw. So that'll be up later today. I can't promise any time because my little computer is chugging along. So I gotta not overload it. So thank you guys all for joining us for this stream. We'll be back at 3 p.m. There's a separate stream. I probably should put it on the community tab, but we will be back for the 3 p.m. stream. That's going to be Bill and Ted Face the Music. So excited.
Excellent. Sorry, we can't talk about Bill and Ted without doing the air guitar and the excellent.
So yeah, we will see you in the next stream. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.